Coaches, welcome back to another episode of the Fieldhouse podcast. I'm Coach Tad. Again, Coach Mash. Mash, how you doing today, man?
Tad, I'm doing great. I think we have a really good podcast queued up today.
Oh, man, we do. Some real passionate guys doing some really good things with girls flag football, and excited to get to that. But before we do, give me an update. What's going on over at Parkview?
Yeah, so just as we've been doing since from our last update, we just continued with our touch points with the middle school program. So we've been over there working with the rising freshmen who are going to be in ninth grade this coming fall, and just kind of running them through what we do as a football team, kind of getting them used to us as coaches on the field. We're getting used to them. We're kind of integrating them into the system and the scheme that we're doing, some of the basics and the fundamentals, and that's really important, right? And that was that's what Coach Clack talked about from day one going over to Parkview. Was he wants to have 100 touch points with those middle school kids. Yep. When all is said and done. And I think we're already at about 20 or so. And he said yesterday he spent more time with the middle school kids since we've been over at Parkview than he has really even with the varsity.
And that's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and just it kind of backs up the talk about that. That's the future, and we need to pour into them.
And we heard that with Coach Devon when he was here last week about how much he's spent and how involved he's been in getting that. And Clack said, win the parks, win a ring. Yeah. And that's where the focus is.
And I'll tell you, I'm very excited about this upcoming freshman class.
Yeah, I hear really good things.
They're ready to go.
And that kind of heads into what we have planned for the summertime. So let's talk again about the camps that are coming up and the work that you've done. So first, tell us a little bit about Contact Academy, when that's happening, and what it's all about.
Yeah, so in June, the first 2 weeks of June, we are rolling out our first 3 camps, and we've got the Contact Academy. So that's really going to be focused on teaching players and helping them learn how to get to where they need to go on the football field, and then what to do once they get there, either make a tackle or make a block. So really bringing it down to base fundamentals that every football player uses on every single play. And we really want to focus in and make that the focus of the camp, and really at a micro level. And then we're going to follow that up with quarterback skills camp. And so what that is really just the mechanics of being a quarterback, footwork, throwing motion, that sort of thing. And then what I think is sort of the crown jewel of our camp series is our Air Academy. And the Air Academy is a really unique framework. We call it an operating system that teaches quarterback how to understand a defense, how to understand what's in front of them at any given time. And the question we always ask is what's open. And so we give them a set of rules of thumb that they can use to help them understand the game better. And it's a unique approach that I have not seen before, and Coach does a really good job with that. And so that's online, and then we take that onto the field and start to apply it in real situations. And I think that's something that anybody who plays quarterback is going to benefit from this.
Really, anybody that plays offense or defense.
You're absolutely right.
It focuses on coverages. It focuses on routes. It focuses on how to read the different coverages and what the routes, what really should be the open route. It is, kind of QB IQ, QB school, but it benefits QBs, receivers, DBs, safeties. It touches all aspects of the field, of those outside perimeter positions.
Yeah, I mean, it's really football IQ. Think if you're a defensive back, I would like to know, as a defensive back, if the quarterback is looking at my skinny feet or wide feet. Exactly. And those are some of the things that we're teaching, what the quarterbacks are looking at. So to your point, if I'm a defender, I get to get inside the mind of a quarterback during this training.
So tell me, how can people find information if they want to sign up for these summer camps?
Yeah, AdamClackFootball.com or Adam Clack Football on Twitter, X, or Instagram.
And the cool thing I like to say is the fact that we are talking to girls flag football, and both the QB camp as well as the Air Academy is a co-ed, open up to both boys and girls, because as we're about to hear, there's a lot of girls that are playing football now.
There are. And I got some numbers I want to read you on that. So I'm glad we got there. All right, so let's just think about some flag participation numbers across the country and in the state of Georgia, since that's where we are. All right, so this was in 2024, roughly 25 to 30,000 girls flag players in the United States. Of those, about 7,000 in Georgia. 25 to 30 nationally, 7,000 in Georgia. All right, so let's compare that with girls soccer.
Huge sport.
Right. Been around since the beginning of time. There are 90,000 nationally, compared to 25 to 30K in flag. And then in Georgia, 16,000 girls soccer players. So remember, we said in flag, 7,000.
That's almost
half. And keep in mind, too, in 2020, Georgia was sanctioned girls high school football. And at the time, I believe that was the 4th state nationally. And now there's over 15. So in 5 years, since 2020, when it was first sanctioned, to today, like 5 years, 7,000 participants versus 14,000 participants, or 16,000 participants in girls soccer, which has been around forever.
It took 5 years to get 50%
Yes.
of the total participation in one sport.
I was blown away by that. And then let me read you another one. Girls lacrosse, another high growth girls sport in the United States.
A mecca sport here.
100,000 girls participants in the U.S. in high school, 4,000 in Georgia. So already in 5 years, girls flag has surpassed in the state of Georgia girls lacrosse.
That's incredible.
Right. And so if you're wondering why are we talking about this today, that's why. Yeah. It is a growth sport. It is a brand new avenue and opportunity for girls to play athletics, to play sports. And we talk about this all the time. There are so many benefits, intangible benefits that boys get out of playing football in high school. Well, now girls are able to get those exact same benefits. And I just think that's incredible, and it's worth however much time we can talk about it.
And it's another huge opportunity for them to get exposure, for them to find another avenue of something to pursue outside of one of their main sports. And we're going to hear Coach talk about it, but a way to empower a lot of the girls on the team, a lot of these female athletes, and the way it's shaping up, giving them a path to continue to play athletics at the college level, at the collegiate level.
Yeah.
So that is why we're talking about it, because it's a very, very fast, very quickly growing sport, and we're going to see it as an Olympic sport in 2028 for the first time. So the really exciting stuff. So let's go ahead and dive in and get to it. Enjoy our interview here with Coach Clark Nixon and Coach Lindsey Marshall of Milton High School girls flag football team. You're in the Fieldhouse with the Adam Clapp Academy.
All about the ball. Yeah. Tonight, we find a way.
And they knock
A+ content.
Output County
Authentic stories.
to be the 7A champions.
Actionable
Georgia
takeaways.
We're
2018.
going to attack you like they've never been attacked.
This is the Fieldhouse Podcast. Coaches, welcome to the Fieldhouse. I'm Coach Tad, and to my left, Coach Mash. Coach Mash, how you doing today?
Doing good, Tad. Ready for a great discussion today.
We have something that we've really been looking forward to because it's very, very exciting. We've been talking a lot about football, and most of the times we're talking about tackle, and we're talking about the boys' game, right? But today, we're going to talk about the really, really tough players, right? We're going to be talking about the girls' game. We're talking about girls' flag football. And we've got two of the kind of best in the Milton area that are on the forefront of this emerging sport. It's growing really, really fast. So today I want to introduce to you Coach Clark Nixon, who is the head girls flag football coach for Milton High School, and his offensive coordinator, Coach Lindsey Marshall. So Coach Clark, how you doing today?
Doing great, man. Just grateful for this opportunity. Love to talk about the sport whenever I can.
Coach Marshall, how about you?
Same. Glad to be here. I'm relatively new to the staff. I've been an analyst the last couple of years, but now full-time as OC. So very excited about the sport and to share a little
But not new to the Milton football ecosystem. The coach has been around for a long time. He and I actually coached together with the class of 25s in the Milton feeder program. And that's where I got to learn the offensive genius that is Coach Marshall. Clearly now he's taken those talents to the girls' side of the ledger.
Well, as we typically like to do, we like to start off just kind of learning a little bit about your background. So since we're on, Coach Marshall, why don't you just tell us, kind of give us your history in football and ultimately how it led to your role today with flag football.
Sure. So born and raised here in Atlanta, went to Riverwood High School. From the time I was 6 or 7 when I first started playing, I played no other position on offense other than quarterback. That was it. So played at Riverwood, was fortunate enough to be able to play at Duke University. My timing was good. I was there, coincided with the Steve Spurrier years, 87, 88, 89, good years for the Duke program. I lasted about 3 weeks as a quarterback before I was quickly moved to strong safety along with some other QBs in the class. Did that. I coached a lot during the 90s before I ever had kids at NYO in Buckhead, which is a program close by. I coached in Southern California, Santa Margarita Pop Warner football for a couple years. And then, coached NAFL, Milton feeder, middle school, all that. And then the last 2 years, I've been helping Clark out as an analyst for the Milton flag program.
Finally roped you in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you and I actually have a connection here because I'm from the Santa Margarita area in California.
Okay. Excellent.
Dove Canyon, and all my brothers they went to Mission Viejo.
Yeah, so Santa Margarita Pop Warner football is a fantastic program. I was just telling these guys, one of the kids from our team got drafted 5th overall last night. Mason Graham from Trabuco Canyon, went to Servite High School. He made me look like a genius. Get pitched right to go to Mason, pitch left to run, sweep left, and he killed everybody. And now he's the highest drafted defensive tackle in the last 7 years.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So
that's
that's
great.
a small world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Coach Clark, what about you?
Yeah, man. I'm also born and raised. I grew up in East Cobb. Attended Blessed Trinity High School and graduated in '04. Played football, basketball there. I was just a good athlete, nothing to the level of Coach Marshall. My love of sports, ended up going to Kennesaw State, graduated there. Yeah, go Owls. Yep, who. And I knew I wanted to, I love sports so much. I was like, how can I get involved in impacting and giving others opportunities like so many coaches before me to play football and basketball. I was like, hey, let's get into education, go teach. I was between math and history, and everyone told me, hey, if you go be a math teacher, you're going to have a much better opportunity of getting a job. And my first year was at North Cobb High School, where I ended up coaching freshman football, freshman basketball, JV girls tennis, just to get that job. And then luckily Milton had an opportunity to come teach there. I did my student teaching there, and I've been there for 13 years.
So presumably when you came to Milton, there was no girls program, or you brought it with you?
No, sir. No. Yeah. So there's no girls program. Actually, when I came to Milton, there was nothing available for football at the time. I wanted to either get involved in football or basketball. And so I started coaching basketball at Milton, where I was involved there with the boys basketball program for 2 years before stepping down, because my wife was pregnant with our second. We had 2 under 2, and I was gone way too much, and I needed, dad first, right? And then I had the opportunity to get involved with the boys tennis program just because really quick season. I mean, JV was like 2 months from like January to end of March done. And had such an impact on those boys that they end up the head coach ended up stepping down and taking over that program, where I kind of, built a resurgence up there. I mean, we had been a pretty bad program for a while. And in my time there in 7 years, we had 2 Final Fours, couple Elite Eights, multiple region championships before stepping down because girls flag football opportunity came about.
Milton tennis on the come up. Huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got really lucky too. I had 2 major Division I prospects, one at Air Force, one at University of Georgia. Talent helps.
There's a connection there between both of you, right?
Yeah.
So we also have a connection because I played tennis. That's kind of what brought me out to California. Okay. I'm a Division I college tennis player. Wow. So I played at University of California, Irvine.
Shout out to the Anteaters.
Anteaters, there he goes, outside. You don't hear that too often, but yes, Anteaters outside. Who actually had a really good run in the NIT this year for their basketball program, and it's really, really coming along well. But as we mentioned, the girls program wasn't there when you first started. Flag football really just got sanctioned in GHSA in 2020. So tell me, how did you start the program at Milton?
So yeah, I mean, our old athletic director, Gary Silvestri, just he sent out an email and he was like, hey, anyone want to coach girls flag football? And at the time, I mean, this was like year 7 of tennis, and we just, we were having a good season, and I just felt like, I wanted to maybe try and grow something from the beginning, from the start, right? When I took over the tennis program, it already had a good foundation, right?
Base, yeah.
A good base from it, and I was like, hey, I'm a builder. I'm gonna go in there, build relationships, and I'm gonna work really hard, and we're gonna build this from the ground up. And it's football, right? And who doesn't love football here in the South, right? So I responded back right away, and I was given that opportunity, and for that I'm incredibly thankful for Coach Silvestri and everything that he's done.
Yeah, we actually had him on a few months ago. He was on the podcast. So interesting, because I know Milton girls lacrosse is the blue blood of blue blood programs in the entire country, and so there was it seems like there is a base of high-level girls' participation in varsity sports. How did that play into you building? Yeah,
I mean, I knew that if we could just get some of these good athletes to come out, that we were going to be very, very successful. And that was definitely one of the things that played into wanting to start this. Was I knew that if I was going to do something, because my whole philosophy is I'm 150% all the time. I mean, if we're going to spend all this time into it, and we're not going to see, the fruits of our labors and stuff like that, then
Sure.
It just wasn't for me, right? And so I just knew that we were going to have a good opportunity to have a really successful program.
And wouldn't you say from the beginning you probably had to market it as a very attractive second sport?
Yes.
to the volleyball player, to the softball player, to the lacrosse player.
Yeah, well, I got really lucky. I mean, when we started the program, I had two girls from our lacrosse program, Hayden Miller and Emerson Rico, who are now graduating this year, that have won multiple state championships with the lacrosse program. That I went to them and I was like, hey, go out there, recruit, show them how much fun this is, right? That there's so many excellent opportunities from the standpoint of cross training, right? And being able to do something that maybe there wasn't so much pressure on us like there was with lacrosse, because we're trying to be recruited to play in college and stuff, right?
That's an interesting point, is that there may be early on a less of a bar to hurdle to be successful than maybe if you came in,
Right, and just build relationships and just show that you care, right? I mean, I know we're going to talk on culture. I mean, for me, it's all about the relationships and just pouring so much into these girls. And, we want to win a lot, obviously, at Milton, but it's also we want the girls to be successful, learn lessons from our game, and have opportunities and exposure and all stuff that they don't maybe get from other sports.
So before we get into kind of talking about the cultural aspect of what you guys are doing at Milton, I just want to throw out a couple of stats from your last season. And Lindsey, I'd like you to react to this. In 2024, you had the most wins in a season ever for the program at 22. Highest winning percentage for the season, 81.5%. Most points scored in a season, 698. Points scored per game at 26. Threw for 5,335 yards and 73 touchdowns. Okay, so the reason I want to ask this, I'm not well versed in the ecosystem of girls flag. So how should I think about those statistics? And coming from you, having come from the tackle football world.
Right. So, I mean, from a coach's perspective, obviously the most important one is we lost in the Final Four, right? Mm-hmm. We had a wonderful season, region champs. We beat BT in a last-second victory at their place. Awesome season, but we couldn't get it done when the chips were down. The offense did not have a very good day against the team that went on to win the whole thing. Yes, the defense had a fantastic season, and the offense put up record numbers. There may have been one other team in the state, perhaps McEachern, that would have had passing yards that were, close to that, passing touchdowns.
I hear about McEachern a lot.
Yeah, McEachern is excellent. They are probably McEachern, Pope, BT, Milton, East Bullock way down south. There are some teams that are the gold standard, and I would say McEachern is right up. But yeah, fantastic season for the offense. We had a brand new quarterback.
Wow.
Brand new to the sport.
And records with a brand new quarterback.
Right.
What grade?
She was a junior, so she's a lacrosse player by trade. She came in, she did fantastic. She missed 5 or 6 games because she was, going to recruiting camps and so forth, but still was able to pick up reading defenses and do all that and throw for nearly 4,000 yards. And our backup QB threw for about 1,300.
Wow.
Yeah, she's going out to California with me in a couple weeks to represent Team Georgia's junior team. And she's going to quarterback out there. So we're excited for that.
So if I'm looking at that, and then I'll let us move on in a second, but I'm just fascinated by this. 73 touchdowns. What is that? I don't know what Milton tackle scored touchdowns last season, but how do those relate?
I mean, it's way more. I mean, the way you need to think about our record was 22-5. Cut everything in half. Okay. And that is the equivalent for boys. Gotcha. So it'd be equivalent to an 11-2 season for boys. Every flag game is a 40-minute running clock. Okay. So we run with about as much tempo as anybody. And we ran, on average last year, 31 and a half plays per game. That's it.
Wow.
31 and a half plays. So the play, if there's a penalty and it takes a minute to sort it out, clock's running. Every time the official has to spot the ball, they have to take these 2 cones, which are the neutral zone. There's a 2-yard neutral zone. They have to take 2 cones and move them every single play. So yeah, there's a play clock, but it doesn't start until. So take everything you hear statistic-wise, and it's basically for every 2 games we play, it's equivalent to 1 boys.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So now I'm kind of looking through these. Now I can kind of do that conversion.
Yeah, and so you get a max of last year was 24. The state cut it down to 4 less this year, so the max we'll play is 20 in the regular season before state playoffs. Yeah, I mean our game is so fast with that 10-minute running clock that you're talking 45-minute games, right? So normally what you do is you'll invite 2 teams to come every night, and you'll play 2 games a night.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But our season's much shorter though. Like the last season we started September 8th because we were to Final Four. We finished mid-December this year it'll be September 10th, finish mid-December again. So it's really, varsity's only like a 3-month season, maybe a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
JV's really short. JV only is like a month and a half.
How many girls do you have on roster?
So last year we had 20, and then we called up a couple of JV girls. I mean, it's 7-on-7, right? You know, with how fast paced it is and stuff like that. I mean, you know, obviously keeping a lot of girls doesn't mean that everyone's going to get an opportunity. And again, with us being a top program in the state, we're trying to, we're like you said, Coach Marshall said, I mean, that's the only thing we haven't done yet in our program is win a state championship yet. We've been in every big game you can think of.
Yeah.
And another difference really is we had 3 two-way starters last year. That is way on the low end compared to most teams. Most teams, your QB on most teams is lining up at free safety.
All your best athlete.
Your running back, your top receiver is playing corner or middle linebacker. That's just the way it is. So we're fortunate to have so many athletes that we don't have to go as much to.
Well, I think that's a good thing. That speaks to, one, getting more people involved in the game, opening it up to more people, right?
Yeah.
Because I would think ultimately the way this is going, you're probably going to have fewer and fewer programs. Are you going to have two-way players?
That's right.
You're going to have a roster of offense. You're going to have a roster of defense.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you're going to have those elite athletes that come through that can still probably do both. But you're going to have an equal number of people on both sides of the ball, and so that's a really good thing. I want to kind of level set for everybody listening, right? Tell me some of the similarities to traditional flag football, and maybe some of the differences or the nuances with girls flag football.
I would say, are you talking compared to tackle? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Tackle, yeah. I mean, we're 80 by 40, so we don't even. So yes, we do play on a football field, but we don't use the same dimensions. I guess one of the really cool things is the creativity for offense is unlimited, because really the only person that's be on the line of scrimmage is the center.
And you got your guy.
Yeah, and I got my guy right here. So we're always talking, drawing stuff up, thinking about things. But yeah, I mean, that's really the big similarity. And then, like I said, I think compared to normal football, it's up tempo. I mean, 25-second play clock. So we got to go. We got to go. As soon as I know Coach Marshall was talking about putting the cones down and the markers and stuff, like as soon as those are, like, we've got a play called in and like we're going. If you can run like Coach Marshall said, if we can get up to like 35, 40 plays, then that's the gold standard. I mean, it's very, like I said, very, very up tempo. And they finally changed it to where we get 3 timeouts per half, but it used to be in the past we only got 3 timeouts for the whole game.
That's a quick game.
So so it would fly.
Is. And yeah, the field is 40 by 80 instead of 100 by 53 1/3, and we do not have hash marks. The ball is always spotted in the middle of the field. Florida uses hash marks.
Yeah, Florida.
I wish that we got to use hash marks as an offensive coordinator. I'd rather do the usual things that you do with hash marks. Obviously it's 7-on-7, right? So you have a center. Everybody's eligible. Everybody, even the center is eligible. Absolutely. The biggest single difference, especially from a coaching perspective, is how you handle first downs. There's no chains. Okay, no chains at all. All there is a down marker. There are first down markers that are set up at the 20, the 40, which is midfield, and the 20. Those are fixed.
That's
okay? And we start off, there are no kickoffs and there are no kick returns. So you start the game off at your own 14-yard line, first down and 6 yards to go.
That's such a weird number.
It is such a weird number. So you start off 1st and 6. Definitely the worst outcome of that play, the first play, would be to gain 6 yards. Because at that point, it's 1st and 20. It's 1st and 20. Now, if I gain, if I gain 4 yards on the first play and then 18 yards in the second play, it could then be 1st and 1. So there are way more, I guess I would call them high leverage and low leverage situations. There's a lot of times where it's 1st and 18 and your play calls are impacted huge. If it's 1st and 2, that's a high leverage situation for the offense. We can try to go deep down the field. We can run a trick play because there's really no downside to it. We're still going to get the first down.
So when you're calling that first down play, you're not calling that play to get the next first down or to get those 4 yards. Now you're set up for another, to get another first down. You're trying to get those yards.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it really just becomes a math equation. I mean, a lot of times as this game continues to grow, I mean, we want to be in situations that really opens up the whole playbook for us, right? I mean, yes, getting a first down is great, but 1st and 18, 1st and 19, man, that really, because we're more new to it, you see a lot more punting. But down in Florida, they hardly punt because their defenses and stuff are so good on there that, hey, if you stop them and they're at first and 18, first and 19 or whatever, even if you don't convert a first down, you know, how you try to flip the field, right? And stuff like that. In flag football, you don't see that as much because starting off at first and 18 is really difficult, especially if you're playing against a good defense, right? You know?
Yeah, and first and 18 is one thing. If you're not successful on yards, second and 18 is a whole other monster.
Right.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like being behind the chains in football, right?
Exactly.
A holding penalty on first or second down, and the offensive coordinator, you know, is saying, "Oh my gosh," and the defensive coordinator is drooling, right? In those situations, you know, another thing that's a huge difference is we don't have fumbles. They do not exist. Yeah. Okay, so interceptions, tons of interceptions, but no fumbles. So the girls are taught when they catch the football or they're running the football to hold the ball out in front of them.
Because it's a risk.
Now, of course, you're running down the field, you're going to keep it tight. But as the tacklers are coming close, hold the ball out in front. That's where it will be spotted when your flag is pulled.
Exact opposite of tackle, where if someone's around you, cover it up.
Of course.
And it's if someone's around
Exact
you, get that extra yard.
Yeah, because I mean, in flag, it's a penalty. If I was to go rip that ball out of their hands while they're holding out like that, that's a penalty.
So what happens if somebody fumbles? Is it just a dead ball?
Yeah, dead ball.
Muffed snap, dead ball.
Yeah, if you muff a punt, because we do have punts, then it's just wherever you touch it and the ball lands, that's where you start with the ball.
So you do have a punter that will punt the ball?
Yes.
Yeah, and we don't do a whole bunch. I don't think.
But there's no you can't like block the punt, right? Like say you've got we've got a 2-yard buffer for our rush rule, and it's the same thing. Girls can stand there, and so you'll see a lot of teams down in Florida, they've started adopting this because, like I said, they're ahead of us to where they'll be jumping up trying to block it, because if a girl kicks it and it hits any little part of your body and then it falls over 5 yards behind it, that's where you get the ball at.
Yeah. And hey, back to those down markers. On those punt returns for us, we'll have a coach stationed at the nearest first down marker to make sure the returner knows to go down, okay, or to run out of bounds, because don't get those extra 2 yards. I want first and 1, or I want first and 2. Don't give me first and 19.
There's a different strategy, which it sounds like. I love the hype, the fast pace of it. I love the strategy and the nuances of trying to understand where you are on the field, and does it make sense for you to get 1 yard, or should you go down maybe 2 yards behind that, so you don't get that first down.
The calculus is different.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you got to have. It's got to be because I can tell that you're very analytical, and you got to be thinking about a million different ways you can play that.
I mean, because again, back to running, all the tackle football days, like on 3rd and 3, you already have in your head, what is my first down call? Because it's always first.
It's like muscle memory,
right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, it varies whether I'm backed up against my goal line or I'm in positive territory. But here, you don't have a clue whether you're going to get 1st and 2 or 1st and 20.
Tough to script.
So, yeah. The other thing, by the way, on extra points, we do have a setup where there's no kicking extra points, but you're able to go for a basic 1-point conversion, which is going from the
3-yard line.
3-yard line. You can go for 2, which is from the 10, or you can go for 3, which is from the 20.
So a little bit of the USFL kind of rules,
but it keeps it interesting. It keeps teams in games, because if I'm down 18-0, I'm really only down 2 scores.
I know that, and I love that. That's the cool thing about that, is that you're really almost never out of a game.
Right.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about the athletes themselves. So what would attract a young female to the sport of flag football?
Well, it's football first off, but I mean, it's just so much fun, right?
Football in the South.
It's a totally different experience. I mean, I can't tell you, having a daughter now that's in 3rd grade, she's starting over in Cherokee. Just her being around and being like, hey, that's something now I get to try and do, because in the past, really only the boys had that opportunity, right? And now you're like, hey, one, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an experience like no other, and you're going to get more exposure than you normally would. I mean, next season we're playing in the Corky Kell for girls flag. We're kicking off the season at West Forsyth High School on September 29th. We've had Harris County coming up. That's going to be on TV. And like I tell Coach Marshall all the time, we have such a great lacrosse program, but even their state championship game isn't on TV. My one of our best softball players, Allison Oneacre, is going to Penn State. She'll be graduating this year, senior. Penn State. One of the reasons why they recruited her, they're like, hey, we saw you playing flag football on TV 2 years ago as a sophomore and dominating Blessed Trinity in that game. And so, that's just really how we push it is right now where it's at, a lot of fun, experience, fast paced, great cross training, by the way. I mean, Coach Marshall can speak on it because, his daughter's doing it right now. I mean, she's an outstanding lacrosse lacrosse player, going to go play in college. But she's also one of the top receivers in the state now as well. And I think
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to compare, but I think the girls' coaches in college do value the multiple sports. You know, probably a little bit more than the boys do. I know a lot of football players run track and all that, but at least in lacrosse, your typical top 10 lacrosse recruit is from Baltimore, Long Island, and in addition to lacrosse, they are playing field hockey, soccer, or basketball,
And encouraged
to do so. And the coaches always love that athleticism. And so I think that it's really just a fun second sport. And because the options right now in college are kind of limited to NAIA, maybe a couple of D3, a couple of D2 schools, at least for the moment, there's no pressure on, oh my God, I got to get recruited.
Not everything is about recruiting.
We do have one player who probably will play in college, maybe a couple of others. But that right now is the exception. Of the 7,000 or 6,000 you said in Georgia, the vast majority are just doing it as a second sport because it's objectively fun. It's the same reason you and your family do it at Thanksgiving and the same reason you do it at the beach when you're down at 30A, right?
How does the season fit in with other female sports like lacrosse and basketball?
Yeah, so we're kind of like right there in the middle in the fall. Like I said, first official day will be September 10th. So softball and volleyball will start in August. We don't really pull a lot from either one of those. I did have a lot more softball girls back in the day, and then I think it's just with how good our softball team program's been at Milton too, it kind of just stretches a little bit too much into our season. So we'll start September, and then like I said, we'll finish mid-December. So it does overlap a little bit with basketball. There's obviously no overlapping with spring sports. And I guess one of the reasons is that we play at that time is because we have a contract with Mercedes-Benz. We'll play all of our state championship games.
Yeah, those are televised.
In Mercedes-Benz. So that's the one reason why they keep it like that. I think they feel like having it at that time gives most athletes the best opportunity to also participate in flag football.
And it's football, and that's football season.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, if you talk to the coaches down in Florida, because I go down there a lot in January to their clinic every January. They love it being in the spring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I think right now it just depends with states. I mean, it's kind of all over the place. We have 15 states sanctioned right now. Texas, Iowa are going to be the next two big ones to come on in a year. And I think some are playing in the fall, some are playing in the spring.
And so that's interesting. You said 15 states. So in 2020, when Georgia was sanctioned, that was the fourth state in the country. This was in 2020. I mean, it might as well have been yesterday.
And there's going to be a lot more. I mean, the NFL is throwing huge money behind this. So I would say that in every team has the same setup, where I think each program qualifies for up to $5,000 grant per season, and if you're a new team, you can get $10,000.
Wow.
$10,000
That's your budget
to seed your program from the Falcons for any high school in Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the Falcons have been huge. I mean, we started with 18 teams in the state. They started off Gwinnett County, kind of up there, just piloting it, seeing how it went, and now we'll have 307 high schools participating this year in just 6 years in the state.
I know it's been a big passion point for Arthur Blank, and if you go to Mercedes-Benz, they have the high school wall there, and right next to the high school wall is the girls' flag high school wall, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, I mean, you have that there. I know, Roger Goodell's just had conversations about starting a professional league for men and women, and you've got some prominent women athletes backing that in Serena Williams and Caitlin Clark right now, who are ready to start sponsoring. Who are they, right? I mean, you're talking two of the greatest, female athletes, right?
So you mentioned a little bit, but I'm kind of curious. So what is that next level beyond high school? Are there a lot of scholarships out there, or are there scholarships available for
Yeah,
girls?
so NAIA right now is really the major. I mean, you're talking Southeast, Midwest. We're starting to see some more in California on the West there, but that's predominant in NAIA. I mean, right now in the state, we have 3 NAIA programs: Reinhardt, Life University, and then Thomas down in South Georgia. LaGrange is coming on, Division III. It's growing. I mean, I would say we're kind of in the infant stages right now, but it's coming on fast. I mean, Coastal Carolinas is going to start Division II, like Les McCrae out there, Wingate. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I mean, it's coming. I mean,
and the growth trajectory is going to look like this because of the 2028 Olympics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's boys.
Yeah, talk about
it's
that.
Men's flag and women's flag, right? Separate sports in LA for the 2028 Olympics. I think that is going to drive more of these. It's driving the NFL to push the heck out of this, and it's going to drive more colleges to establish programs. Again, the lack of capital expenditures that it takes to start a flag program, I mean, it's almost nothing.
Well, so think about, you look at the national soccer program, like the national men's soccer program, national women's soccer program. Those are established, and they have an ecosystem where they take the kids and they just feed them through that, and that becomes then the candidates for the future U.S. teams. And you can kind of see something similar with flag. The reason you can't do that with tackle is because it's a hell of an investment. I mean, it's a lot of money, a lot of coordination. There's a lot that goes into tackle. If you strip a lot of that stuff away, you're still left with just football.
Yeah.
And now, you could potentially envision a state where you do have sort of these national facilities and programs and that kind of thing.
And the NFL is so behind this that at least as of now, NFL players will be able to participate in the 28 LA games. They will be able to participate. And you've had guys that just think who would be the ultimate person. Tyreek Hill, right?
Oh, yeah.
You've got some people like Tyreek Hill saying,
and they're doing flag football for the All-Star for the program now instead of a full tackle game, which I think is a great way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I mean, I'm biased. I think it's going to be the most popular female sport within 5 to 10 years from now. I think it's been recommended in the NCAA, and so we're just kind of waiting it out. I think if it does become a Division I sport, no doubt, especially here in the South, I mean, that's really kind of one of the parameters that's kind of holding it back a little bit, but it's still growing through that, right?
Yeah.
We talked a bit about where it can go, right, when you get in college, but let's talk about how do you get into it? At what age are programs available for girls?
Well, I'll give you one example. You can start whenever you want. Yes. I mean, so last year we had a girl start who was a senior. She had never played before. She's a lacrosse signee, Division I, Arizona State. She came out and was she was our number 2 sack person last year. She had never played.
One.
Yeah.
But you're able to teach. And again, our QB last year, Audrey Jensen, year 1. Okay, and so there is no established, other than stuff that's just starting to come on right now. There's never been anything established. So every one of these girls at the moment started playing flag while they were at Milton High School. One girl from Florida, she's the exception, but otherwise they all started as 9th, 10th, 11th,
so
or 12th.
There's really no middle school youth.
So me and the McEachern coach last year started the feeder middle school through GMSAA.
Okay.
I think that's what the boys do as well for their feeder programs. We started that. We had 21 teams total with about 15, 16 high schools participating in it. We're going to grow that now by another 10 or 15 high schools this season for upcoming feeder. I'm actually having my interest meeting on Tuesday night to get that kicked off.
I was say, is there a Milton feeder team right now?
Yes, sir. Yes. So last year we had an 8th grade team with a couple of 7th graders on it, and then we had a kind of a 7th grade team with mostly 6th graders and some 7th graders on that. And we're hoping this season to have 3 programs, 6th, 7th, and 8th, just because of the interest. I mean, as of right now, tryouts for high school start in a couple weeks. Right now, it's looking in between 70 to 85 girls coming out to try out, and so that's still, and we got a couple weeks still to go, right? Yeah. So I mean that could grow. We just did, like you were talking about with what you're offering over at Parkview. We just had a middle school clinic just on a random Friday, 30 girls out there. And a lot of the girls at Northwestern that night had a dance for 8th grade, so we didn't really even have a bunch of 8th graders out. So we're expecting we could hopefully maybe anywhere from like 40 to 50 girls at our next one on May 9th.
Wow, that'd be incredible.
And I should mention, obviously, Clack has been heavily involved with flag football, and he's got another project with Flag Factory. We've got some summer camps coming up. One of them is a QB skills camp, which is also open to female QBs as well. So it's kind of a co-ed.
Well, our Air Academy is too.
Air Academy
and QB skills. There's so much. Think of all the things that you do with boys tackle. I mean, presumably you do the exact same model with the girls, and now you've got, with all the training, the off season, the 7-on, your scholastic season, and all that. Yeah, it's almost like that road has been paved, and you just kind of gonna walk down it.
Yeah, and we're at the point in Georgia where the top team from this past season would have beaten the top team from 2020 or 2021 by 50 points, probably. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The game is just evolving every year. They're attracting better athletes. athletes, and the coaching's getting better as well.
I want to pivot right here, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, because we talk about culture all the time. And I would love to hear kind of your take on culture for your team, how you guys implement it, how you get buy-in, and overall what that culture looks like right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important. I mean, I would tell you last year, I think our best seasons because, I mean, we had great leaders, senior leaders, right? For me, it's like I said, it's about building relationships and showing that you care. I mean, Coach Marshall can speak to it. I'm not in season right now, but I'm going to a bunch of different games, right, to support my girls because they're multi-sport athletes. I mean, I was at lacrosse last night, senior night, right? And we just really take them under our wing, and we just really show them that it's not just about the wins, that we're there for them whenever they're having a tough day, right? Sit down, talk to someone, build that rapport, right? And give them these opportunities and empower them too, right? It's like one of the things that I think that I have been more privy to now and really understand this. I didn't really understand it in the past is these girls don't get as many opportunities as the boys did. Well, now we're giving them that, right? I can tell you right now, I mean, just the opportunities I've had, these girls are outstanding athletes, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were thinking, they're just probably going to hand it off, not do much. No, man, we're throwing this ball over the field. We ain't here for any of that. I mean, these girls are outstanding, and they work so hard, and they have such great attitudes, and so we just really go in there from day one and just like, hey, we're gonna have a lot of fun, and guess what? This is your second sport, and we know you're going through a lot, and we're gonna respect your time, and we're gonna be efficient with practices, and it's gonna be an experience like no other that you've never experienced before. And I think that really draws them in. And then I think what happens is you start getting these girls talking and stuff, right? I mean, Coach Marshall's gonna maybe speak to this a little bit, but I think by seeing older girls in the lacrosse program like Emerson and Hayden come through and have a lot of success and have a lot of fun has really, shown these other girls that, hey, we can do flag football. And at the end of the day too, it's about building an athletic program at Milton that is successful in all different sports. We don't want to just be good just at one sport, right? Like we want to be good at all. And so it's like, how can we go do this to get these girls to come out and do multiple sports?
And we heard a great quote at the Flag Football Association coaches meeting in Georgia last weekend, which is very true, which is boys have to win to have fun. Girls have to have fun to win.
I love that.
Okay. And so that is so true. And the level of fun that you see on the sidelines and so forth, and the support and that kind of stuff during the game, you'll see some homemade video clips from time to time. The most fun is to listen to them and to listen to the girls on the sidelines really celebrating the successes and cheering and chants and that type of stuff, which boys support each other, but not in the same way.
Boys are too cool for that.
They're too cool.
Yeah.
Too cool for school on that. And Clark, you mentioned something which stuck with me. So right now you're in the off season, but you're going around, you're seeing your players. We talked about this last week. We had a couple of feeder coaches on last week, and we were talking about half of being a coach is just showing up and being there, literally just being present. And so we talked about, if you're in a feeder program, go to the games on Saturday, go to a couple practices here and there, just so they see that you're there, that you care about them, so they know that you're there. And I think that's a huge lever of success that coaches can have. You don't have to do anything special, just show up.
Yeah, I mean, for me, at the end of the day, it's how much impact can I have on anyone, whether they walk into my classroom or I'm out on that field with them, right? I mean, as I think about it, if it wasn't for a couple of my coaches and my parents, who knows where I would be today, right? And teachers. And so really, for me, at the end of the day, it's like, did I do enough, right? Even at practice, I'm like, hey, we only got an hour and a half with them. Like, did as a staff give them what they deserve, right? And I think that's one of the things that separates us from a lot of programs around here is not only do you get the best coaching, I mean, bringing on Coach Marshall and stuff like that, but you're going to learn so much from it, right? I mean, we talk about being a great teammate. We talk about, what it means to be disciplined, right? To steal from one of my best friends down in Florida, he's the number one program in the state right now. We're process. We're driven by the process, right? With it being a new sport and having these conversations, we'll take a trip. The varsity will out to, where did we go last year? So I can't think off the top of my head. Rock Eagle. And we really spend a whole 2 days together talking about, what we need to do to have a successful program and the things that you expect from us and what we expect from you. And it's really cool. And it's so much fun. I tell you, there's not a day that I've gone out to practice where I'm like, not excited to be out there. I mean, I absolutely love this sport. And I see what it's doing for my daughter now too and stuff, because she's in 3rd grade and she's playing and she's having so much fun out there. And I'm getting to coach her in that right now too, in the Cherokee League and stuff. So.
Hey, and I'd be remiss if we didn't mention we have 2 other assistants on varsity. Lamar Calhoun, who teaches over at Fellowship and comes over, and we have another coach, Kelly Bendel, who is in the building at Milton. She's in charge of the online learning process, and Kelly she's been coaching flag for a long time, and she really is kind of like a whisperer, and the girls just love Kelly. They go and talk to Kelly during their lunch period, during off times, and so again, just building those relationships, which I think is a little bit more important with the girls. Probably.
It's a new sport, for the most part, to any family with girls. They just grow up in football. Right.
And we've been fortunate. And we started the program. Christy Weiss, her husband Carl's now over at Cambridge coaching. I mean, she started the program with me, and then we were lucky to bring in Kelly. I mean, I always say that at every one of our banquets, I said one of the greatest things that ever happened to our program was bringing Kelly Bendel on. I mean, what she has done for these girls. And you want prominent women role models involved. I mean, I'm hoping that as we continue to grow this game and more girls get involved, that they had such a good experience that if they have time when they're done with school, that they want to come back and coach. I mean, I want them to be involved. You know.
Yeah, that's a great point you make, and Lindsey, you remember this when we were coaching together in feeder. The head coach that we were with, his goal was to give every kid the best experience they could have that season.
Oh yeah.
And they come back, and you give them good experience again, then they come back. And that's, we a lot of times we focus so much on, all right, what's our practice plan, what's our schedule look like, what's our record going to look like, and we kind of forget that they're doing this for a reason. They're not doing it for us. They're here for a reason. Let's give them that reason. And let's make it a great experience.
Yeah, and I would say one of the things that we know that it's working at Milton is that this group last year, I mean, they're hanging out all the time this spring. They were just all over at someone's house, took a picture, hanging out as much as they can together. I mean,
that's what you want. That's the team aspect.
And one of the cool things too is you've got girls coming from so many sports that maybe never would hang out and be together. Now they get to have that experience together, and so now you're building more and more friendships and just meshing with maybe a different population that you wouldn't maybe ever really talk to much because you don't ever play a different sport, right?
And I guess, too, we always talk about the benefits and the virtues to young kids of athletics, like all the intangible things they get out of this. If you kind of comes down to, if you ask the question why flag football, it's all those things, and it's just another avenue for girls to live in that world and to get those benefits.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about the opportunities, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we can help some girls get to college that maybe wouldn't have that opportunity now, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, everyone deserves their chance, right? And like I said, I mean, we're here, we are empowering these girls and giving them exposure that maybe they wouldn't get, right? And new opportunities. And that's what's so cool about it.
And ultimately, on down the road, many years, they're going to probably be football fans for life.
Yeah.
And when they have kids and when they get married, they're going to be involved in the game, and they'll be telling their 8-year-old, "Oh, that wasn't a post route, that was a dig." Come on.
And hopefully coaching, right? When they have kids and kind of get into that, because they've been there. Now they can go and do it.
It's so funny because we had a chance to interview Denton Carter, and he was talking about how there's nobody that knows more about defense than his mom. That's he learned everything he knows about defense from his mom. And so how cool would it be to for these girls, right? Because I talk about it with coach that we have and what we're doing with the impact that we have with these kids is at the end of the day we're probably teaching the next generation of coaches, right, at the youth level. And you guys are probably empowering and growing the next generation of flag football coaches for girls.
You made me want to sign up. Really, I'm sitting here thinking, man, this sounds really good.
If you let us, I'd talk for another 2 hours. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been waiting for ever since Coach Marshall told me, I was like, hey, I love talking about this sport. I mean, it's changed my whole perspective on coaching. I don't know. I was kind of falling out of it after tennis and this whole new opportunity. Now I'm like, can't wait.
Something magical happens when opportunity meets passion, and I can tell that there's a lot of passion between both of you, and you guys landed in a great opportunity, and that the girls that are on the team and the parents that their athletes are on that team are in a very fortunate situation because there's a lot of good that can come from.
Well, I'll tell you what happens when passion meets opportunity is 73 touchdowns, 5,335 yards, and 22 wins.
Hey, yeah, I mean, thank you to you guys. I mean, let's get out there and if we can get more to just come and just come check us out and during the season in the fall and stuff.
So what
like
I would
that.
say is, for those that may be interested in learning more about flag football, or maybe want to get their daughter involved, where can people find more information?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you go to our website, mhsflagfootball.com, there's a lot on there. I mean, there's pictures, our schedules. You're always willing to reach out to me if you have any questions. nixonc@fultonschools.org. Social media, Instagram, Milton Flag Football. Yeah, and like I said, if you're interested in it, there's going to be a lot of opportunities through Flag Factory. I know we'll have our kids camp this summer, June 23rd through the 26th, from 6 to 8 o'clock down at Milton High School. So if you're interested in that, that's all on our website. Just direct you towards our website. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting stuff there.
And give them the website again.
mhsflagfootball.com.
And we'll post your social links up to our YouTube pages and on the link to this podcast and everything, so people can find them.
And I would tell people, go watch a game.
Exactly.
You guys were talking about just seeing them on the sidelines. Sure, you can watch some film and see kind of what the rules are and how the game works, but I think you really have to experience and see what these girls are really getting out of it, and I think that kind of opens a lot of eyes.
Yeah, and the other thing too is with short games. I mean, you're not investing multiple hours. I mean, we're talking 45 minutes to an hour, right?
These varsity high school games have been getting longer and longer and longer.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, you can come see one game and be out of there in like 55 minutes.
Yeah, and I watched it on TV. I did watch it on TV, and man, there are some crazy plays you're drawing up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is amazing what they're doing, and it is a very fast-paced game. So if you're watching on TV, you don't have time to go up and get that beer. By the time you come back, it's like,
That's right.
It's like, well, what just happened? The score totally changed. So it's really cool. Well, look, I know you guys are really busy, but I appreciate you guys coming in today. It was great to meet you. It's great to hear about all the things that's going on. Again, like we said, it's no wonder why the program is having so much success in just 4 short, maybe 5 short seasons. Keep on working on it. I know you're just going to get over that hump, but the goal to get down to Mercedes-Benz and play again this year. Hopefully we can do that. So
appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. I mean, it's a privilege and honor to be out here. I thank you.
Yeah, and maybe we check back in around October or something.
I would love to.
Sure.
Hey, you let me know. You guys want to talk flag football? We're all for it. I'm
Absolutely.
texting this guy all the time, man, when I can about it. So thank you.
We'll do a weekly show with you guys.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm all about it. Yeah.
That's great. Well, coaches, I appreciate your time today. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of this. And again, we'll put the links to contact here and get more information on flag football in the Milton area. And we'll see you on the field. Thanks, coaches.